our channel and to our podcast.
Yes, and today on World of Paws, we're covering one of the biggest shows at Disney currently,
Bluey! This adorable show centers around the Healer family as they have a slice of life adventure in Australia. Well, they have many slice of life adventures actually.
Yes.
And the series actually premiered in 2019, and starting last year, it's now become a global hit not only for kids, but for teens and adults like me and families.
Yes. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification will do some future podcasts on World of Paws videos.
I should say, and us. I'm sorry. Oh, I remember when you first were telling me about this, and I had never seen it. So, how did you find out about Bluey first?
Well, apparently it had been trending a lot recently online. It was beginning to pick up speed, and this is the highest it's been. And this has become sort of like MLP, where more than just the target audience was watching the show, and this was happening all over, not just Australia, not just here. And a lot of adults were watching it and didn't really understand why. And they said it's the way it's written, it doesn't feel like it's just talking down to kids or being mindless or anything. It seemed fun. So since they re-air Bluey hundreds of times a day, different times of the day, every week, ad nauseum, I was okay, one of these times this song, I'm going to try it out.
Well, it's not ad nauseum because you never get tired of seeing the episodes.
And then after a few episodes, I could see why they loved it. It was just a really wholesome show, and it was something you could do whether you want to pay attention or have a background during something else.
For those of you who aren't familiar with Bluey, as she mentioned, it's an Australian animated TV series that premiered on ABC Kids on October 1st, 2018. It was created and written by Joe Brum and is produced by Queensland-based company Ludo Studio, which you'll see at the end. And it's distributed by BBC Studios, and it made its premiere on Disney Junior in the US and released internationally through Disney Plus, and you'll also see it on the Disney Channel as well. And this is an absolutely adorable show. There are right now 143 episodes with 3 seasons. Right now, as far as we know, you can only purchase seasons 1 and 2. So after Rascal told me about this, I said, oh, well, I guess I'll give it a try. Well, unfortunately for me, the first episode that I caught was the one about Bluey being sick in the hospital.
Bingo.
Yeah. Bingo being sick in the hospital. I immediately turned it off. And I said, well, I'm not going to watch it. And then I caught it again. And the second time was something else that seemed kind of negative. And I said, forget it. So then one day, Rascal decided to sit and watch it. I think they had a marathon, or it was a group of outdoor episodes. And I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and give it a chance and sit down and watch it. And I fell in love with it after I actually sat down and watched it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. And so I'm like, when does it come on again? And as you said, it's available so many times throughout the day. I ended up settling on watching it at night before bedtime. So it's like a comfort animation show for me now. And after I got to watch quite a few blocks, I ended up going to Amazon and buying it with a gift card.
Yes.
And yes, don't judge me. I don't care. I love it. I watch what I love, and this show is absolutely adorable and inspiring and fun, and as you said, wholesome, and it's so calm.
Yes. Even when they're doing some little exciting things like going to a amusement park or traveling or something, they're very calm slice of life episodes. They don't go off rails and branch out into fantasy or superhero or do like Loud House and start having surreal adventures in what's supposed to be the norm of the show.
But they pretend to do all of this.
Yes.
With their imagination.
Right. And one of the big things about the imagination is that you see they're playing pretend. It's not, you see the kid's perspective and you see everything look fantastical. You're just seeing them, watching them play pretend. And you just play pretend with them.
So the name Bluey comes from the main character. She's a girl dog, and at the time the series premiered, she's 6 years old. She has a little sister named Bingo, who's 4. Her mom is Chili, and the dad is Bandit. So they're a little family that lives on a hill at the end of the street in this gorgeous, beautiful house, and all inside is so fantastic. I could sit and watch a video looking at every little intricate thing that's inside the house. They took so much time in creating all these details and beautiful features. It reminds me of Mitchell's vs. the Machines, where there's so much to look at.
Right.
But it's just a joy to watch. So let's tell them more about the Heeler family and why they're called Heelers.
Yes. The entire family,
Heelers.
yes, the family is entirely based on an Australian breed of dog called Blue Heeler. And they actually have a video where they show you what each dog is based off of. And yes, the Blue Heelers actually do have blue shaded fur. They're not like neon colored or anything, but they do have a blue tint with spots. They also have a black and white variety and a brown variety. So this type of dog actually exists in Australia. And since it's really common in their country, they decided to base the family around that particular breed.
And this show has influenced the development of not only merchandise but also a stage show, I'm sure that's in Australia, featuring its characters. The program's won 2 Logie Awards for Most Outstanding Children's Program, as well as the International Emmys Kids Award in 2019. And it's been praised by critics, believe it or not, for depicting a modern everyday family life, constructing parenting messages, and the role of Bandit as a positive father figure and not Homer Simpson.
Right.
And I think that's part of what makes it so wonderful to watch. The parents don't mind playing with the children. It's almost like they still know what it's like to be a kid. And yes, both parents work before anyone asks. The mom works outside the house, the dad works at home. And they both spend time playing with the children, sometimes separately and sometimes together. And that's part of what makes it so endearing, is that you see that they know how important it is to have fun with their children, and they make the time to do it.
Yes.
And before anyone says anything, I gotta get this out. This show is not meant to be critical of anyone or anyone's parenting style. The way this show is written is a culmination of the experiences of the people who work on the show and their experiences with their own children, and that's how this comes about.
Right.
So this is not meant to be a statement about, who's a better parent and what parents should do and whom's not a good parent and why don't you play with your children and things like that. It's not meant to be that way. Unfortunately, there are people online who are taking it like that. It's not meant to be that way at all. It's simply just a wonderful show to watch, and take it as it is, and to experience the joy of watching the interaction not only between the family members, but as you mentioned, with the community, with all these different breeds of dogs, and they're just multifaceted. Any type of breed you can think of, I guess that's in Australia, the dogs are there.
Right. And part of its success is it's just normal. It's not normal with a twist. Seems fun, but is dark underneath, and people seem to love that genre. It's not telling you one thing, it's really another. It's not a regular show. It's just, it is what it is. It doesn't try to hide anything, doesn't try to be preachy, it's not putting anyone down, it's just being a show about fun family. And you rarely see that now because they depict, unfortunately, different types of scenarios where the house is not a happy place to be for the kids or the adults, or they're dealing with current events and it disrupts their happiness. But with Bluey, none of that happens in here. It's just having fun, seeing this family play with their kids.
Now, they also do have lessons within each episode, but they don't hit you over the head. It's not the focus. It ends up just being like something that's just added, something that comes across, and the lesson is learned easily.
Yes.
So, as I mentioned, we have a Blue Heeler puppy, Bluey, 6 years old, 7 by the end of season 3. Bingo, her sister, who's 4, and ends up turning 5 by the end of season 3. She's actually a red Heeler puppy. And you have Bandit, who's voiced by David McCormick, and of course he's a Blue Heeler who is an archaeologist, which you find out later watching an episode.
Right.
And the mom, Chili, is voiced by Melanie Zanetti, and she's a red healer.
Yeah.
And she works part-time in airport security.
Okay.
So you got this little iconoclast of this wonderful little family that lives in this wonderful community. And yes, everyone gets along. And even when the children have disagreements or misunderstandings, and the same with the parents, I love that they're worked out by the end of the episode. And it's not like, okay, someone relinquishes and gives in, and that's how it happens. And it's not just one person cooperates and another and it's resolved. Each party actually realizes how they contributed to the misunderstanding or to the event,
right?
And then they resolve it, and that would be so wonderful. It's like that with people all the time, and I think that's another reason that makes this show so endearing. You're seeing a way of life you wish happened for real, where people could resolve their differences without violence and all these other things that happen. This stuff doesn't exist in this universe, and it's absolutely wonderful and a delight to see. Now, that being said, we watch anime and animated shows, superhero shows where you have violence, where you have altercations, where you have current events and problems and things. We do watch those things, but this is just like something, again, that's a comfort show. It takes you away from that, and it's calming, and it brings you joy, and puts a smile on your face, and reminds you, if you're not a child, what it's like to be a child. If you've forgotten, I haven't, as Rascal will tell you.
Right.
And it just brings me so much joy watching it. And if you haven't seen Bluey, you really need to give it a watch, regardless of what age you are, because it's just a fascinating creation that has come from down under, and that unexpectedly is bringing the world a whole lot of joy.
Right. And there's a lot of characters in here as you go through the show. You also have their neighbors, the neighbors' children. You have their extended family, some from the dad's side with his two brothers and their kids, or the mom's side, which is a little smaller, but you do get to see a little more of them as the show goes on. You have their cousins, Muffin and Socks. You have where they go to school and their friends at school, and the
you have
teacher.
A version of Kashima named Coco, and the one she calls her husband Mackenzie.
Yes, I'm not your husband.
And we're not kidding. It's like Kashima and Hori. Seriously.
And you keep getting new characters as it goes on, but they're not like they're one and done, don't show up again. They kind of just make sure they cycle through different events. They be at home, at school, and one of the jobs, in the city, going to the movies, visiting relatives, visiting their grandmother. It's always different situations. They haven't really done one where they go outside of Australia. Perhaps they'll come farther down the line when they talk about their trips. But right now it kind of stays in their town or their city. And when they go into the city, they kind of have bigger things happening there. But they stay very simple and they stay relatable. They don't try to go way far off and have things that wouldn't possibly happen in the real world.
Right. Two things I really love. One is the children are identified. The voices, that's what we forgot to tell you. The voices of all the children are actually voiced by children.
Right.
And that's another thing that makes this so endearing and so lovable. These are real children doing the voices, and they sound adorable.
Yes.
Every single one of them sounds adorable.
Yes.
And that makes it, again, so much more enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with adults voicing children when you're watching anime and different things. But again, for the setting for this particular show and the type of show it is, meant for preschoolers but loved by everyone, having real children voice the characters is fantastic. But they're not identified. Their identities are kept secret, which I think is fantastic, so that they're not being hounded and privacy isn't being taken away. I think that was a very good idea.
Right.
And secondly, there are children of all ages. You have them, Bingo's age, you have Bluey's age, you have them younger, like Socks. It's really like a baby.
It's like
2 years old, a toddler.
Yeah.
And she can't talk.
Right.
And it's so funny because she acts like a puppy would act.
Right.
And then she gets older and she begins to talk and have a more anthropomorphic personality.
Right.
And acts human. So in this universe, they act like I guess our world dogs when they're babies, and then they act like adults and humans the older they get, which is also a brilliant concept.
Right.
They've had some notable guests that are Australian guests, but for us, the two biggest ones that we know in America are Rose Byrne and Lin-Manuel Miranda, who played Major Tom, and Rose Byrne played a character named Brandy, who's Chili's older sister.
Yeah.
But they've had some Australian notable guests like surfer Lane Beachley, Anthony Field, Zoe Foster Blake, and Hamish Blake, and they play a mom and dad, a husband and wife. Robert Irwin, the son of Steve Irwin, who we remember was a handler of exotic animals and really famous around the world, unfortunately, who lost his life when his heart was impacted by the tail of a manta ray.
Yeah.
So his son appears on there, and I'm sure there are more that people in Australia are more familiar with.
Right.
But I also like that it's not a star fest. If it were in the States, or it would be a whole bunch of superstars making appearances and taking over the whole point of the show.
Right.
The stars are on here, but there's no big deal made about them, and they're just like any other character. And again, it's endearing and wonderful.
Right.
And I know there's got to be a lot of stars who want to appear on this show.
Right.
It's impossible that they don't, because again, it's such a fantastic show to watch.
Right. So, there's one more thing we'll mention. On the DVD, there's actually a little special feature on there. Not only do you get a collection of shorts that are featured online on the YouTube channel, you actually get the Australian original airings of some episodes that were edited for America. Either some scenes were taken out because they were considered offensive or not appropriate, though when you see them, they're really no big deal, so you kind of wonder what's the real reason. And then one entirely new episode that was never aired in the States again, called Dad Baby.
Which is a hilarious episode, and we can see why they chose to not play it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely funny and fun, and gives you a perspective of the dad coming to understand what the mom went through, having a baby.
Right.
And if you ever get to see it, you should watch it. It's delightfully funny.
Yes.
So, very quickly, some of the things that stand out about this show that critics love: the central theme of the series is influence and support of family. They both work and still engage in imaginative play time with their children and are regularly seen doing housework, including Bandit. He's a positive father figure, and Chili balances work and family life. And you see some episodes that show her struggling with motherhood and wanting to be a good mother. And they also, as parents, acknowledge and validate the emotions of their children. And everyone's shown to be imaginative. And I love Bluey and Bingo's relationship. I know it's, usually we see siblings fighting, not getting along, or they fight and argue until something comes up, and they join and learn how important they should be to each other. Well, they know how important they are, and they have little disagreements, but the disagreements are never so bad where they fall out. And it's so cute that Bingo is the youngest, and sometimes Bluey is a little overbearing, a little bossy, because that's just her personality, and she'll make Bingo angry, and Bingo will tell her, "I'm not going to talk to you," and she'll turn her back or go somewhere. And Bluey's like, "Come on, please, I'm sorry, no, please, I'm sorry, no, please, I'm not talking to you." And then Bluey, the 6-year-old or older, when she walks away and you see tears come in her eyes, and before she barely gets to finish, Bingo goes, "Okay!" It's so cute. She doesn't want to see her sister cry, and they hug and they love each other, and it's absolutely just wonderful. It's nice to see this type of show.
Yes.
It's nothing wrong with watching the shows that aren't like this, but it's just a breath of fresh air, and it's definitely my comfort Western animated show. It absolutely is. I can watch this every night before bed. I like watching it throughout the day. If I'm doing something and I want something calming on while I'm doing something that requires me to relax, I'll have Bluey in the background now. Yes, I still watch animation. shows that are adult oriented, and in terms of dramas and comedies and things and movies, yes, but Bluey just has a special place in my heart now.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things that stands out about this show is that no matter how many times you see an episode, you don't get tired of seeing them. It's absolutely I was trying to think of another word, but it's incredible that it's so well written and so well done that you can watch episodes over and over and you're not going, okay, I'm tired of seeing this. I've seen this like 20 times. It's enough. You don't feel that way.
No. Sometimes you might want to switch up the order of the episodes, because sometimes Disney will play one episode a lot throughout the day, or if times in a row. You might want to, okay, I want to watch a different one before I see this one again, because they've done it so many times. Then that's about as far as it goes. But you still want to see it, just like, okay, I need a break, I need a different one before that one airs again. You don't feel like you're just watching the same one on endlessly.
So if you've watched Bluey, and we really hope you have, let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you love it as much as we do? Are you confident and proud and don't have a problem with people knowing that you watch this series like we do? Let us know in the comments. If you haven't seen it, it's available on Disney Plus, Disney Junior, and the Disney Channel. Episodes are 7 minutes. Disney shows them in like a block, 30-minute block, where you get to see 3 episodes and then a bunch of their ads or clips from their shows that are either at the beginning or the end, depending on which channel you're on, or they're mixed in between.
Right.
But if you haven't seen it, it's really something you should watch. If you want a taste of a calm show, it's comforting, it's some innocence, and just a joy to watch and fun, no ulterior motives, nothing being thrown at you, no agendas, no one's got politics, no religion, none of these things are in the show.
No.
And that's another thing that makes it really a joy to watch. If you just want to watch something that just lets you sit and relax, have fun and enjoy, just being alive, knowing, your childhood being reimagined, and seeing others enjoying time with their children, even though they're cartoon characters. This is the show for you.
Right.
And I mentioned to you, Muffin is one of the craziest characters on the show.
Oh.
She actually is the craziest. And this is Rascal's favorite character. Every time I go, there's your girl! There's Muffin's episode with your girl! And I'm not sure if my favorite character is Bluey or Bandit. I like them equally. So I'll have to say Bluey and Bandit are my favorite characters.
Yes.
But absolutely, I adore all of them.
Yes. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and music videos and favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate your watching and listening. And we hope that you find joy as we do watching these shows. If you have a show you'd like to recommend to us to cover for you, let us know in the comments. And if we're not subscribed to you now and you want us to check you out, leave the name of your channel or a link below, and we'll do that and support you as well.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.